Culture and organizational change and development. A little bit of an introduction to the way that I'll be doing this presentation. I'm not going to be doing this in person, so I'm going to pre-record this. And for the question and answers, I have pre-submitted these in a way to sort of like answer some common questions that go along with the subjects. Moving on to the first slide, culture. So what is culture? Culture is an acquired collection of common understandings about values, customs, beliefs, and social behaviors that influence the actions of a sizable population. How is culture described and seen? Well, culture is the shared values, beliefs, linguistic conventions, communication styles, customs that characterize a group of people in its entirety, and that is culture. The variety of differences in people's backgrounds and upbringings, an individual's behavior becomes unpredictable. This makes the placement, output, influence, and status of each person in society unique. Aspects of this reality can be seen across many organized, routine-like tendencies among cultures in many different areas of life. What is business culture? Business culture is the expression of how your organization deals with its workers and how they relate to one another. How can business culture be viewed within organization or organizations? If you want your company to expand and remain competitive, you must create a strong corporate culture. A positive workplace culture may boost morale, promote retention, and stimulate higher levels of output. You may leverage your company's culture to bolster your branding and exemplify the principles that are most important to your business. In business and culture, an understanding of cross-cultural differences can be broken down into 6 major areas, which are 6 major dimensions, 1 being power distance, 2 individualism collectivism, 3 masculinity femininity, 4 uncertainty avoidance, 5 long-term short-term orientation, and 6 indulgence restraint. So first being power distance. So what is power distance? Power distance is the term used to describe the sense of acceptance that less influential members of society experience when observing the unfairness in power not being distributed equally or within the favor amongst the society in which they live. How does it play a role within culture, and how does it play a role within organizations? Low power distance cultures object this within their placement in lower power society. Power distance can be seen within organizations and are brought up in a variety of ways. Lower power distance cultures seek deeper and greater equities amongst the people in which they share their statuses. Organizations taking place in higher power distance function in a sort of hierarchical tendency. Authorities may be given amongst those of higher status within the organization. Certain authorities may affect things such as making decisions. Category is individualism collectivism. What is individualism collectivism? Believing that individuals among society are naturally and uniformly independent of themselves and their relatives, meaning they tend to the needs of their families and themselves, is individualism collectivism. How does individualism collectivism play a role within cultures, businesses, and organizations? Seen within culture in the way that society is weaved and organized into groups and communities. Organizations and businesses can relate to this in aspects of practices of management, rewarding based on output and individual success, cooperation within groups, and self-sufficiency and independence. Masculinity femininity is the third category. So what is masculinity? Masculinity is a term used to describe the tradition and routinely male roles and traits attached to their gender and status. These traits can be described as having assertiveness, being successful and work-driven, being competitive by nature, and providing as well. What is femininity? Traits of femininity are heavily associated with that of being modest, having care and regard for weaker individuals, and a desire for a comfortable life. How do they relate to culture, and how is this relevant within organizations? In culture, strong roles are persisted as a normal dynamic to be followed. In organizations, the division of these roles is often thought of to be a competition of the strong and soft in society. Masculine members of society can be expected to see more success and reward in a shorter period of time than those of the feminine member workers. The fourth category is uncertainty avoidance. What is uncertainty avoidance? The limit cultural members feel a threat by unpredictable environments or situations. How does it relate to culture and in organizations? High uncertainty avoidance cultures are a status in which people can be within a society. Uncertainty and doubtfulness is something that people in these cultures steer away from, as a structured lifestyle is preferred. The fifth category is long-term short-term orientation. What is long-term short-term orientation? Long-term short-term orientation is the term used to describe the societal limit in which the traditions, routines, and norms are valued more than potential changes or prospects for the future. How is long-term short-term orientation seen in organizations and cultures? Short-term organization cultures are past and present oriented and desire instant results. Long-term organization cultures emphasize preserving consistency and openness to wait for instant gratification so that long-term reward can be gained. The sixth and final category is indulgence restraint. What is indulgence restraint? Indulgence is the term used to describe cultures that prioritize quality of life in ways of leisure, hobbies, and fun. Restraint is the term used to describe a society group that represses desires and instead abides by social norms without indulging in leisure. How does it relate to culture and organizations? In indulgent organizational cultures, workplaces will have more prioritization of agreement within the workplace and fun being encouraged as well. Contrarily, organizations within restrained cultures will maintain value of keeping professionalism and keeping leisure and friend-like conversations outside of the workplace.